Well, hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. It's great to have you. Today we're going to do an updated video of the Roborock app. This has been requested by several of my subscribers, and I did one last year of the Roborock S4. Now, not much has changed even with the firmware updates and with the app updates. So if you have a Roborock S4 and you're watching this video, I'm going to link here in the top to the previous video of the overview I did of the Roborock S4. It is much more in depth and entailed, so and specific to the Roborock S4. The rest of the Roborock models, the S6 MaxV, which is the one we'll be going over today, has the most features. This one will be applicable to the Roborock S5 Max, the S6, and the S6 Pure. So continue watching this. If you have those models, if you have S4, go ahead and look at the previous video. It'll be more helpful for you. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started here. If you're just setting up your robot vacuum for the very first time, the first thing you want to do is download this app, and you'll want to turn your robot vacuum on by putting it on the dock. And once it's on the dock, you need to go ahead and get it connected, and you'll click this little plus sign right here. Make sure your phone or tablet is near your robot vacuum, and it will automatically connect to it. You need to make sure that you are on a 2.4 gigahertz wireless network, as 5 gigahertz is not supported on these devices. So if your home Wi-Fi is 2.4 gigahertz, make sure you're connected to that. As you can see up here, the symbol up here on this top screen shows that I am connected to my wireless. As long as I am connected to my wireless, I will be able to set this up. I don't see anything here because I'm not setting up a robot vacuum. I've already set mine up. You should be able to walk through the instructions and go ahead and get these set up pretty simply. Once you've set it up, you'll see it pop up here in your home. If you have multiple devices, they'll pop up here like I do. So let's go ahead and go into the S6. Now, I've already had this run my home, but if you were to go ahead and go in here, this whole entire area right here would be blank because it has not mapped your home yet. So the very first time it'll go out and it'll run all over your home. It'll go everywhere. It won't be the most efficient because it's learning where all your walls and obstacles are, and it's also creating the map. So be patient with it. I always suggest the first time that you run the robot vacuum in your home, make sure you open all doors and let it go ahead and map out all rooms. You'll save yourself a lot of grief later if you go ahead and do this. Go ahead and pick up any obstacles that might be in the way, any cords, shoes, or anything like trash cans. I go ahead and get everything out of the way that I possibly can so that it can do an accurate map the very first time. Now, once it does the map and maps your house, it's going to try to go ahead and automatically split your rooms up. I say this does this not so accurately. So I'm going to show you here in a minute how we fix that. You'll notice that the first time it goes out, it basically makes multiple rooms, especially when you have rooms that flow into one another. This is my living room here, and it flows directly into my dining room. My dining room flows directly into my kitchen. It thought these were all one room, and so I had to separate and divide these. And so once it's run the entire house, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and you're going to want to edit the map here. And once you go edit the map, you can see where it says edit room. And this is where you're going to be able to merge and divide rooms. Now, I'll show you a little bit about this, how to merge and divide rooms. So let's say I wanted to divide this room right here in half. I select the divide function, and I select the room that I want to divide, and it puts a line across here. Now on these lines, I can move these. I can divide this room right here if I wanted to. I could divide it anywhere on here. I could also swing it up this way and divide it this way. Let's say I wanted to divide it right here. Make sure the ball is a little bit on the outside of the edges of the room when you're selecting the divide. And we're going to select OK here. And it's updating the map. And you'll see here it divided the room into two different rooms. Now, this is just one room right here, and I might want to divide it for different cleanings. I can do that. Or maybe this is two rooms and you just need to divide it. That's the way that you divide the rooms. So, what if that was a mistake and I did not want to divide it? Well, there's this merge function down here. And so you'll select merge and you'll select two different rooms, two adjacent rooms. And once those two are selected, we're going to hit the merge checkbox here. and you should see that it actually merges those back together, so you can kind of undo something if you make a mistake. Now, so that same principle goes, so as you're dividing up rooms, you can do that unlimited times, and you can also have it kind of do the zone resplit, where it will go through and try to do it again. I like to do it manually by doing the merge and divide myself. I just find it's more accurate than having the robot vacuum do it for you. It allows me a little bit more customization too. So that's how you do the merge and divide. And so once you have your rooms set up for your map here, all your different rooms, you also have the ability to go back in and edit the map, and you can customize your rooms here. And what you'll want to do here on the customization is you want to select the vacuum and mopping features. So here, basically every time it goes and runs in that room, if you're doing a vacuum, it will vacuum at this certain speed. So let me show you, for example, this room right here, which I do not have it set for. Select a room, which is not wanting to select. There we go. So once we select a room, I get two options. I get vacuum power. So this is a carpeted room, so I want to do max power on vacuum. And because it's carpeted, I don't want any water. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to select OK. And as you notice, it put the icon here for no water and vacuum. That means every time I go to do anything in this room, it will not put any water down on the carpet, and it will set the vacuum mode at that speed. Now, over here in my dining room, right here, this is tile floor, so I don't put it on the fastest vacuum setting. I put it down a little bit lower, and I put my mop level at high. So this is a handy feature so that when you're going through, you can select your different functions and levels. This only works, well, it works with zones. It works with all features and functionality. There's zone cleaning, it works in room cleaning, it also works in all. So as it changes over to different rooms, it will adjust the water level and the vacuum speed as necessary. You may have some hardwood floors in your house and you don't want that much water being put down on them. This is a way for you to adjust the water level. So that is a pretty handy feature to have. We're going to choose no here on that. Let's go back into edit map here. No-go zones. Let's talk about those real quick. No-go zones are very helpful and handy, and one of the reasons why I like Roborock a lot. So you can see here I already have some no-go zones set up. These are no-go lines right here, and these are zones. So these are my couches right here, and so I don't want them to go under the couches at all, so I kind of just put a box around those. And I don't want them to go over here because I got a bunch of cords over here on this side, so I set a line here just across it. No need to do a box. So you can do also, if you have a mopping robot like the most of them, you can do a no mop zone. And so let's say you have a area in your let's say here in my kitchen. You can adjust the size of it here like this, and you can also rotate it around. And let's say here in the middle of my kitchen I have a rug and I don't want it to mop over the rug. Of course, this is not scientific, it's just about the same area, but basically if I put that right there, it will not mop right there in the middle of my kitchen. It won't put any water down on it, and it won't go over it if it's in the mop mode. So that's very handy for a no mop zone. No invisible walls work the same way. If I put an invisible wall up, so let's say say I put this wall right here, and I go to vacuum this room, the robot won't go over here. So that's where it could be handy for an invisible wall. If I want to do a no-go zone, it'll put a box up. And let's just say, you know, I want in the middle of, let's say over here. Let's say I don't want it to vacuum under my bed here. Right there. it will not go anywhere under that. So if I used a line to do that, I'd have to put up 3 lines on each side, so it's easier to use a box. So you can figure out when to use a box and when to use lines. So that's the no-go zones. Those are very handy. We will not save that. Let's go back into edit map real quick. Sequence is very handy also. I like this a lot. So what sequence does, and I wish it let you name the rooms, but it doesn't. It just lets you number them. So in sequence mode, let's say that I want to start my robot vacuum out and I want it to clean all my house or just certain rooms. This will basically allow me to say, okay, well, if I select in the room cleanings these 3 rooms, it will do them in this order. But if I select this room, and this room, 1, 5, and 7, and I say clean those rooms, it's going to do 1 first, and then it's going to do 5, and then it's going to do 7. So these can be handy for you if you just want to select certain rooms to do in a certain order. I like this feature a lot, especially when it comes to mopping. So you can also reset the sequence and change them up if you want to. So that is it for editing the map. Of course, all that you can change at any time. I suggest going ahead and doing this before you start using your robot vacuum for the first time. Now we have mode settings down here. Let me show you what that is. So a minute ago you saw me set the mode for each room for vacuum power and water level. Here is a way for you to manually override that. So let's say, for instance, you are going to do a room cleaning, and I'm going to select this room. I will be able to choose the mode settings and say water level none, and I can set the vacuum power. So if I previously had my vacuum power set to here, I can override it. I go into mop mode. Let's say I'm getting ready to mop, and I'll set my water level, and this is a single time you can do this. Single use only, gentle, which basically turns the vacuum power all the way down to the lowest setting, even lower than silent, where it's barely on at all, and then I go out and mop. The reason for this is I don't like using suction and water on my floors at the same time. I don't like water in my robot, and so if I had it up here on the normal setting right here and I was mopping, then I've got a brush roller and a vacuum sitting there pulling damp water from the floor into my robot vacuum. So when I go to mop, I override it and put this on gentle, and then I set my water level. So that's how I do it. So just something FYI, this mode setting is to override your sequence for any of your rooms. Now if you set this on all, it will obey the sequence for the whole entire area. So down here at the bottom you see zone cleaning. Let's talk about zone cleaning real quick before we dive into all in room. So if I made a mess, let's say here in the middle of my living room, I had a kid that dropped some crackers, and it was a mess, and I didn't want to vacuum the entire living room. I just wanted a quick cleanup. I could do a zone cleaning right here. In fact, I could do multiples right here, and it would just clean. The robot vacuum cleaner would come out and just clean this. Let's say it's a big mess though. I can choose this total cleanup right here, and I can do it up to 3 times, where it would go over this area 3 times. So that's very handy. You can add multiple zones on top of each other. Let's say I wanted to do, a zone right here. I could also do this, and if I send it out, it would do these 2 zones right here. So that's zone cleaning. That's handy for cleaning up little small messes where you don't want it to do a full pickup. Going into all, obviously if you do all, it's going to do your entire home, and the custom vacuum settings will take place. I hardly ever use all cleaning. I usually use room cleaning, and with room cleaning you can select your different rooms to clean, and it will take precedence in the order that you want to clean them in. So for instance, like I was saying a minute ago, if I want to clean this and then these 2 rooms, it's going to clean 5 before it cleans 7. Keep that in mind. Also, another feature here, total cleanups. This is really nice. Let's say the rooms are really dirty. Again, I can do up to 3 cleanings of these rooms, so it will go over the area 3 times. Whether this is vacuuming or mopping, it will do it up to 3 times per room. So that is a feature that is very handy, especially if you have a big mess. Now, as you see here, the white lines on the map, you may be wondering what that is, especially if you're new to Roborock. That is essentially the path that it took the last time it cleaned. So the last time it cleaned, it went out and it did a cleaning here, and this is the path that it took. As you can see, let's zoom in a little bit here. And you can see the path that it took. And while it's vacuuming, you can see this run across here and map this out in real time. That way you can see the history of where it went. And these icons that you see here, the plugs, we'll get into that a minute ago. That's a feature of the Roborock S6 MaxV, and only the Roborock S6 MaxV, as it has the front-facing cameras and the reactive AI. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. So those are your options. You got zone cleaning for little small areas. You got all, which will clean your entire house. And you got room, which will allow you to select your different rooms to clean. So with your reactive AI, we'll get into that in a second. You got to actually turn it on, and I'll show you that in the settings. But as you see here, it thinks it picked up a power strip here, and it's correct. There was a power strip right here. In fact, if you click on that, obstacle photo privacy policy will come up, which tells you basically the objects, images are stored in the Roborock storage to be viewed. Roborock does say that they do not upload those to those servers. They are stored locally, and that is it. All right, so let's go into the settings. So what I did is I clicked the settings menu up here, and this is the vacuum settings. This is specific to the S6 MaxV, so yours may be similar, a little bit different, but a lot of these settings are the same. This is where you can go in and name your device. You can give it a custom name if you want to. The indicator light on the robot, whether it's on or off all the time. Carpet mode. What carpet mode does is if you have your settings set to a lower vacuum setting, when it goes from a tile or a hardwood floor to a carpet, it will automatically boost it up to max mode in order to thoroughly clean your carpets. You'll want to make sure your time zone is set correctly. Do not disturb mode basically makes it quiet, and voice alerts and light brightness will be reduced. It might be helpful if you have a baby sleeping or something like that. You can select your unit area here. By default, it's square meters because this is a Chinese model. So here in America, we want to change the unit of area to square foot. Now, going back, and I'm using my wife's phone here to do this demonstration, so she probably doesn't have some of these camera function settings set. Let's see, in here, yep, they are set. So camera is on. This is only for the reactive AI on the S6 model. Reactive AI object recognition. AI powered obstacle recognition reduces cleanup interruptions and causes by common household items. So it will recognize pet poop. It'll recognize power cords. It'll recognize weigh scales for some reason, lamps. And I find it to be very helpful and worth the price of the S6 MaxV, especially if you have pets. Now, if you have pets in your house, this is definitely a robot that you're going to want, because if you ever have to worry about pet poop in your house and running the robot vacuum, you know that's a real thing. So obstacle photos right here is something that you'll want to turn on, and basically when you click the icon there, which I was trying to get it to do a minute ago, the obstacle photo will come up and let you know what the obstacle was and show you a picture of it. Pet details, if you have pets in your house, you want to make sure you check yes. That way it's more sensitive to seeing and looking at pet waste. So schedules allows you to schedule your robot vacuum. I don't have any schedules set up right now. That's pretty self-explanatory. Voice and volume, basically turn the voice and the volume up or down. Pin and go feature is a option where you can say, okay, I want my robot to go here, and if you hit go there, your robot will come off the dock and go right straight there. Can be helpful in certain circumstances, but not really. Same thing with the remote control. I find it kind of a novelty item. There are two different options here for the remote control. There's a virtual one, kind of like a joystick, and there's also the buttons where you can control it. I don't use that because I don't need to. It has navigation, and some of the cheaper robots only work based off of remote control. You want to make sure your firmware is up to date on your models. You can see here, quickly glance at it and see that the firmware is up to date. You can also look at your cleaning history, which is quite helpful. You can see where it cleaned and if there were any issues with it. Also tells you whether it was started with a button or started with the app. It tells you what time, and you can go in and actually look at the map itself gives you an option to delete it, but you can see where it cleaned right here if you go into that, so it gives you a little history. Alright, also tells you some specs on it. Maintenance items are very helpful. It tells you how much longer until you need to replace your filter, how much longer until you need to replace the side brush, the main brush, and also clean the sensors, the front sensors and the bottom sensors, the cliff sensors on it. You can reset those there once you've cleaned them also. Information to contact customer service and also the user manual. Find my robot, basically click on that. If your robot's stuck or lost in the house somewhere, find that and it'll set off an audible alert and let you know where the robot is at. So that is a overview of the Roborock S6 MaxV Roborock app. I hope this was helpful to you. Let's see if we can click on these right now. Doesn't look like we can. I don't know. Let's go out of the app and then go back into it. I wanted to really show you this, and I'm not sure why it's not functioning or working at all. I should be able to click on. There we go. So I had to go out and come back in. So it said that was a power strip, and that certainly is a power strip there. So it takes a photo of it, and if you go in here, see it shows the power strip right there. It recognized it. And you can say need to avoid or ignore if that's something that you don't want it to avoid, or if it's not really a power strip, you can click this button right here and it will ignore that power strip. So there's another one over here that we have, and if you go into here, it gives you a little bit better of a photo of it. And you can see that's under my desk. Look at all the messy wires I have there. I need to clean that up, right? There is a power strip down here, so it did a good job of recognizing that. Very handy feature of the S6 MaxV anyway. Only on the S6 MaxV is the reactive AI with the cameras. So anyway, that was an overview. If you have any questions, drop them below. Any comments, like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Once again, I hope this was helpful. All right, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.